Get out of your comfort zone. Don't be shy. Find people that inspire you. Try to connect with those people. Talk to them. Go listen to their talks. Find role models and people that you want to be like, and how did they do it? If you get to a certain place or you've achieved something, then think about other people that were in your position and how do you help them? But I think it's much more interesting to step out of that and say, I'm part of a community, and what can I learn? And also, what can I teach others?
This is the AM show with arts music lawyer, where ambition and motivation meet persistence and drive, where your wildest dreams come true and even the greatest possibilities become realities. Listen to people just like you who stay authentic to who they are and master the art of their craft. Are you sharing the art of you? The art of you is music to my ears. Stay focused, stay on track. Create a new lifestyle with ambition and motivation. The AM show.
I always usually end the podcast like this, so I have two more questions for you. Do you listen to music to kind of get a creative thought process going, or is there a particular type of music or a particular song you really like?
Yeah, I enjoy kind of minimal electronic music. Generally, things that are very warm sounding, positive. I just things that adds a certain tone. I do like to listen to that when I'm working. I'm sequencing light and I'm working with patterns, and it is very much connected to, you could find a relationship between that and sound.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So I think it's important. And I did make some sound pieces early on with my work. So I'm experimenting with creating my own sound that goes, with some of my installations. And that's sometime in the future. It's still experimental for now.
And so who is your favorite artist for right now?
My favorite artist? That's a hard one. There's so many. There's just a lot of historical figures. Lately, actually, I've been looking a lot at the Mexican muralists. I was making something for my show and I was looking at it, and it had this kind of texture. And I was like, wow, that reminds me of a Tamayo. And I looked on my shelf and I had the Tamayo book, and it was just amazing to kind of look through it and think about the way that these Mexican artists are very connected to nature and things like the sun and the moon and these images of creation. And Frida Kahlo did some amazing paintings that are almost these whole cosmologies, as did Diego Rivera and Siqueiros. And so I'm very interested in that. And I grew up looking at that work and taking trips to Mexico City and going to museums. And it's interesting how that kind of has woven its way into the work I'm making now, which is, my show is called Interstellar, and a lot of the pieces are called nebula. So they're abstract light sculptures that look like they could be something that it's in the cosmos or something under a microscope, but they're all abstract and they deal with these moments of creation. So it's been exciting to explore that space and to think about things I was exposed to and to reconnect with some of these things through my work.
Well, that's great. Okay, so tell everyone maybe the most important piece of advice they could learn as an aspiring artist.
I would say get out of your comfort zone. Don't be shy. Find people that inspire you. Try to connect with those people. Talk to them. Go listen to their talks. Find role models and people that you want to be like, and how did they do it? So exactly what you're doing right in this podcast, I think, is wonderful because you're telling that story. My goal is always to help other artists and throw them a ladder, but I think we all have a responsibility to do the same thing. So if you get to a certain place or you've achieved something, then think about other people that were in your position and how do you help them? So I think it's this kind of continuum that we can really help one another. And it's about generosity. And the thing to avoid is kind of a scarcity mentality, like I'm the only one and it can only be me and all this kind of thing. And that's just not the case. There's room for everyone. I think this idea of seeing others as collaborators and a community is much better than thinking them as the competition and this whole world. It's very easy to cast things in those terms, but I think it's much more interesting to step out of that and say, I'm part of a community, and what can I learn? And also, what can I teach others?
Well, I want to thank you so much for spending, 30 minutes of your time with me. I'm sure you're a busy guy, and I love the look of your studio behind you, by the way. I am really drawn to the pastel pink lights. If you want to tell us what all those screens are, that would be amazing.
Yeah, it's a series of, I'm making 15 light sculptures for my show, ranging from 3 by 4 feet to 5 by 4 feet. So each one is a discrete box that goes on the wall. And they almost become like these portals that take you on a journey. And each one has its own distinct personality, its own palette, although I'm not using any imagery or any text, and it's all created with code. So I've been developing a lot of my own custom software. I've been doing that for over 20 years. And then I use that to create sequences of light. But the light itself is very potent, is very beautiful, saturated light. I personally have, found it to be very therapeutic. And I started working on this during the pandemic and, in the gray New York winter surrounding surrounding yourself with these light sculptures has been really amazing. So I've had several exhibitions. I've one up now in Geneva, Switzerland, and I've done a few others and opening another one here in New York in just a couple of weeks. And I'm just excited to share the work. And I think it's very open-ended. You can make of it what you want. But I think as humans, we're attracted to light, very primal and operating on a kind of a deep level, almost as if you're staring into a fire or looking at a sunset or the movement of water, these things that we all connect to, which are really very human. So I'm trying to channel those things into the work that I'm making with LEDs and software and accessing these things that provoke wonder and awe and really kind of take people on a journey, doing exactly what I was doing 30 plus years ago and when I was trying to do virtual reality, except I found another way of doing it.
Well, that's fantastic. I hope to meet you if you're in El Paso. So I hope that your installation truly becomes a real thing. So
yes, I'm really humbled by that whole idea and process of being able to do a work in El Paso in front of the museum and to really activate that area. I think, again, it would be available to everyone. It's out in front and you don't even have to go into the museum. But I hope that it does inspire people to go in because there's an amazing museum in El Paso and it's filled with treasures and it's really wonderful and it's free. Everyone should go and take a look. And that's something I'd really encourage people to do is to find the resources that are around you and really take advantage of them because that is very special.
Well, I could ask you a million more questions, but I know that your time is valuable. So I want to thank you so much again for doing this interview.
Thank you so much. And yeah, I look forward to hearing it and everyone enjoys. Thank you.
And if you need assistance with trademarks or copyrights in your business, make sure to contact Marcella at lawfirm@marcellatm.com. If you enjoyed this episode, make sure to hit subscribe and watch other episodes of The AM Show right here on this playlist.